Day 146. Psalms chapter 131, 138, 139, 143, 144, and 145. Not every problem needs an answer. Lord, my heart is not haughty, nor my eyes lofty, neither do I exercise myself in great matters, or in things too high for me. One of the greatest struggles in today's world is the desire to know everything. People want answers for every delay, every disappointment, every unanswered prayer, and every mystery. We spend hours overthinking situations we cannot control. David teaches something surprising. He says there are matters that are simply too high for him. That is unusual, because modern culture teaches us to have an opinion about everything. But wisdom is knowing when to stop demanding explanations. There are moments when God does not immediately explain why a door closed, why a friendship ended, or why a season became difficult. Sometimes maturity means accepting that not every question will be answered today. Think about a child flying on an aeroplane. The child does not understand aerodynamics, navigation systems, or weather patterns. Yet the child trusts the pilot. Likewise, faith is not understanding everything. Faith is trusting God when we do not. The more we grow spiritually, the more comfortable we become with saying, I don't know, but God does. Inner peace is a skill, not a feeling. Surely I have behaved and quieted myself, as a child that is weaned of his mother. Notice David's words carefully. He says, I have quieted myself. Peace did not simply happen to him. He intentionally calmed his soul. Many people are waiting for life to become peaceful before they feel peaceful. But David teaches the opposite. A peaceful soul is often developed in the middle of noisy circumstances. Today's world constantly competes for our attention. Notifications, breaking news, social media updates, and endless demands can leave the mind exhausted. David compares himself to a weaned child, a child no longer crying for immediate satisfaction. This is a picture of emotional maturity. Not every desire must be fulfilled immediately. Not every inconvenience deserves a reaction. Sometimes spiritual growth is learning to sit quietly and trust God's timing. God notices you even when nobody else does. Though the Lord be high, yet hath he respect unto the lowly. Many people secretly fear being overlooked. Perhaps your efforts at work go unnoticed. Perhaps you serve faithfully in your church, school, business, or family, and receive little appreciation. It gives a comforting truth. God pays attention to people the world often ignores. While society celebrates popularity, wealth, and status, God notices humility. The person quietly helping others, the teacher preparing lessons late at night, the parent sacrificing for their children, the employee working honestly when nobody is watching. God sees what others miss. Your value is not determined by how many people recognize you. Sometimes the applause of heaven matters more than the applause of people. Your future is not an accident. The Lord will perfect that which concerneth me. God is still working on unfinished parts of your life. Many people become discouraged because they are not where they hoped to be. Maybe your business is not yet successful. Maybe your family is still facing challenges. Maybe your dreams seem delayed. David reminds us that God has not abandoned his work. A sculptor does not stop halfway through creating a masterpiece. Likewise, God continues shaping our lives. The chapter encourages us to stop judging the story while it is still being written. What feels incomplete today may simply be under construction. Do you know there is no place where God cannot find you? Whither shall I go from thy spirit? Or whither shall I flee from thy presence? Most people think about God's presence during good times. But David speaks about God's presence everywhere. In the darkness, in distant places, in uncertainty, in failure, in loneliness. This lesson becomes especially meaningful when life feels overwhelming. Some people feel abandoned during difficult seasons. Others feel forgotten because their prayers seem unanswered. David says there is no location, circumstance, or emotional state beyond God's reach. The same God who is present in moments of celebration is present in moments of grief. You may feel alone, but you are never abandoned. God's presence is not determined by your feelings. It is determined by his faithfulness. God knows the real you and still loves you. O Lord, thou hast searched me and known me. Most relationships involve masks. People often hide weaknesses, fears, insecurities, and mistakes. We carefully manage the image we present to others. Yet God already knows everything. He knows our thoughts before we speak. He knows our motives, he knows our struggles, he knows our fears. And still he invites us into relationship with him. This is one of the most comforting truths in Scripture. God's love is not based on discovering a perfect version of us. He loves us while fully knowing who we are. Because God knows us completely, we do not need to pretend before Him. We can be honest, we can confess, we can ask for help, and we can trust His mercy. What I have learned from the next whisper is that sometimes the best prayer is simply, teach me to do thy will, for thou art my God. Many prayers focus on asking God to change situations. David's prayer is different. He asks God to change him. When faced with challenges, most people pray, Lord, remove this problem. David prays, Lord, teach me. Life becomes easier when we stop viewing every difficulty as an interruption and start seeing some difficulties as lessons. Challenges often teach patience. Delays teach trust. Failures teach humility. Responsibilities teach discipline. The people who grow the most are often those who remain teachable. A teachable heart can turn even painful experiences into wisdom. Greatness is measured by how much you help others, as we see in the verse, the Lord is gracious and full of compassion. Repeatedly, the passage describes God's kindness toward people. He lifts those who fall. He provides for creation. He satisfies needs. He shows compassion. This teaches a beautiful principle. True greatness is not about how many people serve you. It is about how many people you serve. In today's culture, success is often measured by power, wealth, followers, and influence. But God's character reveals a different standard. The most admired people in heaven are not necessarily the most famous. They are often the most compassionate. The people who encourage others. The people who help without seeking recognition. The people who forgive. The people who give hope. If we want to reflect God's heart, we must learn to care for others the way He cares for us. As we journey through life, recall these key whispers. Not every problem needs an answer. Inner peace is a skill, not merely a feeling. God notices people others overlook. Your future is not an accident. There is no place where God cannot find you. God knows the real you and still loves you. The wisest prayer may be, teach me. True greatness is found in serving others. These are reminders that God is not only powerful, He is personal. He sees us, guides us, teaches us, sustains us, and walks with us through every season of life. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson of all. While life changes constantly, God's faithfulness never does.